everyone, my name is Millie and welcome to my channel. As this video is going up, it is A-level results day, which is kind of scary because I'm filming it a week and a half beforehand, I think, 2 weeks beforehand maybe, and I haven't got my A-level results yet. I'll be getting my A-level results on that day. So yeah, it's a big day for lots of people. And then the Thursday is obviously GCSE results day. So in today's video, I thought I'd do a little chat about what to do if your results aren't what you wanted them to be. If you're a little bit disappointed by your results, what you can do about your disappointment, things to remember, things to keep in your mind. And then towards the second half of this video, I'm going to be talking specifically about what you can do if your A-level results aren't as good as you wanted them to be. The first half will be relevant probably to GCSE, A-level, even people doing mocks in the future who haven't got the results they wanted. The second half of this video is going to be more aimed towards what to do if your A-level results aren't what you wanted. And obviously when I say A-levels, some people may have done BTEC and A-levels or like an equivalent level BTEC, and I'm just using the word A-levels as a generic term. If you've been applying for university and you haven't got the results you wanted, that's what the second half of the video is about. And also maybe if you've been applying for apprenticeships or something else that requires grades to get into and you haven't got the results you want, you could possibly have a look at some of the tips in that section of the video because they could still be relevant to you. So my first thing to remember, if you open your results or you get told your results by your teacher and they're not the results that you wanted, is it's okay to be sad. Like, obviously if you've worked really hard for something and it's not as good as you wanted it to be, it's okay to be sad about that. It's a completely natural feeling, and I think some people, particularly on maybe a results day like A-level results day or GCSE results day, when they've got their friends who have maybe got grades that they're happy with, they feel like they should be happy and they should be happy with some of their results and things like that. But I think it's okay to accept that you're sad about something if it's not what you wanted it to be. However, it's important to note with that although it's okay to be sad for a little bit of time, you don't want this to take over the rest of your life. It is not the end of the world if you've got bad grades. It may seem like it at the time, but in reality, there's generally other ways to get to where you want to go. Allow yourself a bit of time to be sad about what your results were if they weren't what you wanted, but don't focus in on it because it's not going to be healthy for you. And if you are finding that you're struggling with that, I'd recommend speaking to someone about it, maybe friends, family, trusted adults that you know, or talk to a therapist about how you're feeling if those feelings are overwhelming you. But to try and avoid that, after you've had this time of feeling sad about your results, you need to try and focus on what can I do about it, and accept the results that you've been given. You can't change the past. That's not going to happen. There's no point wishing and worrying and thinking, oh, if only I had done this, then I could have got that, and then that could have led to that, and then blah, 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 blah. Try and focus in on, okay, that has happened, so what can I do to deal with it? And that's something I'm going to be talking about later on in this video for A-levels. Another thing that can help you overcome any feelings that you're having about your grades is to remember that you are more than your grade. One grade or one set of results does not define you as a person. You have other talents, you have people who value you for who you are, and even if you don't feel like that, God is always there for you and he will always love you as a person, no matter what you do, no matter what your results are. Maybe to help you remember that your results aren't the be all and end all, try and list out achievements that you've had in the past, be that doing your DFE, running a race, getting up on a stage and singing a song when you were absolutely terrified, just making someone smile or doing some volunteering. Think of everything else that you have done that isn't about your grades, that makes you realise that you are more than just a grade, you are more than a number or a letter on a sheet of paper. You're a person, you've got your own interests and experiences, and you're valuable to others and to the community and to yourself. Another thing to remember is that education isn't just about your grades, it's about what you've actually learned. And just because you didn't manage to apply in the way that you wanted the skills that you've learned doesn't mean you haven't learnt the skills. So maybe you've learnt to speak another language, play an instrument, maybe you've learnt to use Excel, or you've learnt the geographical processes of erosion or something like that. This is knowledge and these are skills that you could use sometime in the future, and you've still got those skills and that knowledge no matter what your grade is at the end of the day. If you feel like you haven't got those skills or you don't know those things, you can go and learn them. Just because your A-levels have finished or your GCSEs have finished or your mocks have finished doesn't mean that you can't relearn the skills that you've had or that you wanted to have learned in the past. One final thing to remember if you haven't got the grades that you would like is that there's other options in the future. This is not like the end of the line. Other opportunities come up in the future that allow you to develop in your career or in your studies. Maybe if you've just sat your mocks, then you've still got your GCSEs, or if you've just sat your A-level mocks, you've still got your A-levels. Or if you've sat your A-levels and then you're going to go on to do a university degree, you've still got that. Once you've got that next level up, people aren't going to mind so much about the grades that you had in the past. There are other stages in your path, and just because one stage wasn't quite what you wanted it to be, doesn't mean that that's the end and you can't go any further without that. Grades aren't everything, and there are other ways to get around this slightly worse stage than you would have wanted and still get to where you wanted to go. Even if those were the last set of qualifications you were going to sit, there are ways to make a career without those qualifications. So this isn't the end of the line, and there are other ways to get on in life without those grades. I'm now going to move on to talk about some of the options you have after your A-levels if you haven't got the grades that you wanted, and therefore you haven't got into the university you wanted or the next step that you wanted to take. I would just like to say that these are just some suggestions. I am not an expert, I haven't gone through this process, so please do your research. These are just some suggestions of things you could do after A-levels if you haven't got the results that you wanted, but double check them first. The first option you have is you can appeal your grade. In a normal year, getting your grade appealed would mean that your exam might be remarked and then your grade could go up, or it could also go down. This year it's obviously a bit different with the teacher assessed grades due to COVID, but you can still appeal your grade, and that's an option that's available to you. If you decide that the grade that you got is probably what you'll get even if you appeal, and you choose not to appeal, or you appeal and you still don't get the grade you want, there are other options. If you didn't get into the university that you wanted with your grades, you can try going through clearing. Clearing is a process that allows universities that have unfilled places to share them with you. I think you can do it through the UCAS, and there's lots more information on the UCAS website about clearing and the process about it. So go and have a look at that if clearing is something you're going to do. The idea is the universities put out, I have places, and you can apply for those places knowing your grades this time. So I think the idea is that you would only apply for places that you're likely to get into. Now, clearing could mean that you end up going to a different university to do the same course, or it could mean that you end up going to the same university to do a different course, or a different university to do a different course. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It might not be what your original plan was, but you never know, like that university that you now end up going to could be where you meet your future husband, or it could be that the degree you get there allows you to go on to do a master's in the subject that you've always wanted to do. Just because it wasn't in the original plan doesn't mean it's not a good thing. So try and remember that if you're looking for new universities or courses to apply to. If when you're looking through clearing you can't find a university you want, or the courses that you want to do you really do need higher grades for, you might decide that you want to resit one of your exams or all of your exams. Resits are taking place this year as far as I'm aware. Obviously check with the government website in case anything changes, but resits should be taking place in the autumn. You may choose to take a year out so that you can resit that exam in the autumn and then have a bit of time to reapply to universities. And I'll talk a bit more about gap years in a second. Or you may decide that you want to resit a whole year. If your school or college or sixth form would let you do that, then that might be an option for you. That could mean that your plan gets right back on track and you still get to go to the university you'd looked into and you wanted to go to, which had the course you wanted. So that could be an option that's worth considering. Now, if you're really not sure what you want to do, you weren't expecting this at all, you've looked at clearing and you're not sure about any of those places, you've thought about doing a reset but you don't want to and you're not sure what to do, just take a year out. You can do a gap year. A gap year doesn't have to be expensive. A lot of people are like, oh, I've got to go travelling, I don't have the money for a gap year. Well, travelling probably isn't the best idea at the moment with the pandemic. So do a gap year doing something at home. Get a bit of experience in the job that you're looking to do a bit of work experience, or go and do some volunteering. See if you can get a job to get you some income and start saving for uni. There's loads and loads of things that you can do on a gap year that can make a difference to your experience, your self-esteem, and also to the community and people around you. So doing a gap year could be a great option. It just gives you that chance to have a think and reconsider what your options are, what you want to do. If you have that time to think, you might actually decide you don't want to go to university. You might decide you want to do an apprenticeship, or you might decide you want to go straight into the world of work. There's other options other than just going to university, and a gap year could give you that time and space to think about what you want. If you're one of those people who is a little bit indecisive or has had their plans all blown out the water and you're not sure what to do, or you just decide that you might want a year to do other things, that could be another reason to take a gap year. Your final option is that you just decide straight away that you want to do something else. So you might decide you want to go and get a job, or you might decide you want to go and do an apprenticeship and try and find some of those that are available. I don't know much about apprenticeships personally, but I'm sure if you do some research online you can find out about those. If you're someone that can make decisions that quickly, then the summer holidays might be enough time for you to decide what you want to do and go and find a job or go and find an apprenticeship. And you might not need to take a gap year, you might be able to start in September doing whatever you want to do. So that is another option that's available to you. Well, that is it for this video. If you're watching this to the end, I suppose you probably haven't got the grades that you wanted in your A-levels, and I'm really sorry about that. It's okay to be sad and disappointed, but as I said, there are plenty of reasons why it's okay not to get the grades that you wanted, and also there's other options out there. So please research them and don't feel like that this is the be-all and end-all. It's not. It's made an impact on your life, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a negative impact. You don't know what's going to happen in the future, so try and keep positive about it. Try and find some solutions, and I hope these ideas have been helpful. If they have been helpful and you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my future videos. Also, please leave me a comment down below if you have any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you want to chat about anything, please feel free to DM me over on my Instagram. I'll put the name up here. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.